Okay, this is a class on life structure design. And we are going to include what gets in the way of life structure design, like effective life structure design. We'll use ourselves as examples and try to improve our life structure design.
Okay.
So, Fanny, how does your life structure design seem to you?
Well, on the whole, I probably have a pretty positive life structure, but there are many areas which are not that well thought out.
Such as taking care of your teeth.
My teeth?
Remember when you needed all that dental work a few years back?
Yeah.
That's because of ineffective life structure design.
Why do you say that?
Because that's something that's included in life structure design. How you take care of your teeth.
But I had relatively very little work done, actually.
Remember they had to clean your teeth extensively?
I don't know if they really did have to do that. I think they just wanted to make money. Because only a couple months later there was a new hygienist, and then she said, "Oh, you should have the scraping and everything." And then I told her, "Well, I just had one 6 months ago," and the doctor said she doesn't need one. I mean, basically, I think they do a lot of these things just to pad their bills.
They do it.
I'm sorry, but
that may be, but is there any point there about definitely taking care of teeth? I know there was a time when I lived in San Francisco, and my kind of world was collapsing in my own world that I was creating. Felt weird, and I just did not attend to what I needed to, and I didn't brush my teeth very much. I knew when I was going to bed I didn't brush my teeth. I said, "Oh, it's okay, I just don't feel like it," which is also an indication. "Oh, I just don't want to. I don't feel like it."
I brush my teeth every single day.
And then not long after that,
I
I had these pits. When you have deeper points around your teeth, they measure them from 0 to 5. And I had some 5s, and I had to really work on it.
Well, I think I developed a pocket that they cleaned out. There was one pocket that they cleaned out, that's all. And the only reason that developed was because when it developed after I got my cap, because the cap, my gums didn't like the cap, and I didn't know that.
Let's ask a question right now. Is what Fanny is talking about actually taking us off topic?
Sure.
Ross, is that you getting yes on that?
Let me test that. I get yes.
Well, when so does that indicate Fanny has a resistance to structuring her life effectively?
Again, I get yes.
Okay. So let's think about why somebody, because, this is pretty common, isn't it? Like you see a lot of people who simply resist creating a decent life structure designed for themselves. And you wonder, why is that? Like let's say you have a friend who every day at work he eats a pizza. That's what his lunch. He eats a slice of pizza for lunch every day. And you say to him, "Well, why don't you have yourself a decent lunch sometimes?" And he'll say, "Well, no, it's okay. This is good enough for me." He's resistant.
Yeah.
It's just a simple thing. Have a good lunch. Oh, Greg, if you
And
just turn the camera a little bit towards you,
What?
if you just turn the camera a little bit towards you, you won't keep going off the screen, and Franny will still be on the screen.
Yeah.
You
done.
put me too far back.
But it can be kind of in the same line, otherwise
Well,
we're
come
too
on
far.
forward a bit, Butter. Then,
No, it's hard for
Ross,
me.
what were you saying?
Here, hold this.
Me?
Yeah, what were
I
you
was saying that this person who eats pizza for lunch and says this is good enough for me doesn't have a high opinion of himself because he deserves a piece of pizza. I remember there were times in my life when I have a mozzarella, you know, the famous Italian cheese, leaning over the kitchen sink, not have to clean the kitchen again, and that was my lunch. I didn't have any care around myself, you know. Now I prepare a tray for me with all the things well put, and I take care of having lunch and dinner very, very nicely, you know. But I remember eating like that.
That was
Because
your
okay, I'm alone. It's only for me.
that was your
You
life
know?
structure design, eating over the sink.
What a structure! Yes, it was terrible.
I used to wash my clothes in the bathtub to save a couple dollars. And then I'd have to wring them out and hang them up. Problem was I shared this loft in Soho with a couple other people.
He still does the same thing.
And of course, there was no way they could use the bathroom with your clothes hanging in the tub.
No, I try to do it when they're off during the day. I do it in the morning, and we try.
Well, you could have picked the worst area for me because I have a lot of resistance to what happened. And it probably is, you know, I do all these bad things to
Try to get love. So
in favor of doing things that are a waste of my time, probably.
and that interferes with you structuring your life effectively.
Right.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Now, that brings me to, suppose, let's take the list, the attack susceptibility list. Okay?
Okay.
Now, suppose you're in the middle here. Suppose you're in the middle of it, where you feel and struggle with the attack, but sometimes succumb to it. If that's the way, that's where you normally are, it's very hard to create a structured life design. A good structured life design for yourself, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ross,
Yes?
what do you say about that?
Yes, it's difficult because you are defending yourself.
Okay, makes sense, yeah. You're putting a lot of energy into defending yourself,
Exactly.
so it can't go into structuring your life.
Basically, you put the energy on the wrong things. For example, in my life, I've always put a lot of energy in being loved and accepted, and in being the mama's and papa's good girl. And the energy was wasted because I just had to be myself, like it or not.
Right.
And I'm learning that now at the age of 62, and I'm very grateful because many people die without even learning that.
That's right. That is right. Okay, let's say, for example, that you have a low particle index. let's say your appearancy index is low.
Okay.
So Greg, what's going to happen to your life design?
A lot of these people are contagious.
Oh, just a minute here. Is that me?
And they're going to pull you
What's going
up.
on? Okay. What's going to happen to your life design?
Yeah, if your appearancy particle attribute is low.
Well, you'll probably overcompensate for that in some way. And appearancy.
What is the appearancy particle attribute? What does it mean?
Well,
People see.
Yeah, people see you. A lot of people like take one look at you and they get it.
Yeah, and they'll overlook you, and you won't get the response and the reaction that you want. You won't be getting, they'll just...
Well, you won't have as many options
You're trying to create your options.
for life design.
Make things. Yeah.
Look, for example,
Okay, you take over.
suppose you like doing immunics with people, and you're really good at it, but people can't see you. Like, isn't it less likely that somebody is going to ask you to coach them, let's say, if they can't see that you are good at it and that you like doing it?
Absolutely, and they won't think that you have the wherewithal to do anything because they don't see it.
Well, then we must all have low, I must
Oh,
have
definitely.
low appearancy index too.
And people look at me and they see that I'm frowning and my face in such a way, I've got agony on my face, and I'm walking around just sort of holding people at bay. This is not how I am all the time.
You try to get people to not see you and stay away.
Well, no, these are things that I have done and may do, but anyway.
Well, thank you, because every time you make a movie, there's a chance somebody will see you in the movie and want to meet you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're nobody anybody would want to meet, and see, I know you, so I know that people would want to meet you, but if they can't, if that's not apparent in the movie,
Yeah.
and it isn't. See, there's a lot of good stuff about you that is not apparent. You have a low appearancy index. Franny has a low appearancy index. Like you've really tried throughout your life, Franny, to keep your appearancy index very low.
Yeah.
That's why your therapist used to talk about your smoke screen, remember?
Smoke
My
screen.
famous smoke screen.
It wasn't a wall, it was a smoke screen. It was, ooh. Now you see it, now you don't.
Yeah, talk in tongues again.
Intriguing.
I have a picture of you
Yeah.
that looks like it should be on the cover of Vogue.
I've seen that picture, I think. You put it on Facebook a few years ago.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful picture.
Which one is that?
Well, the reason Wendy Heilweil decided to photograph you, and she got it, we were at a course, I guess we were at Power, and she got a couple of people together. One of them was a hairdresser, and another one was a makeup artist. They were all our students, and they all jumped all over you, and they fixed you up, like they did a makeover on you, like Oprah does. And then Wendy did a shoot, and she shot these pictures of you, and that's how the pictures came about. And you were doing it then, and you're still doing it. You were just keeping your appearancy index very low. It's one of the reasons for the weight, the extra weight.
Good tip.
Uh-huh.
Because people don't see you when you have extra weight.
Right. That's true.
So this interferes with you structuring your life around showing people how to cure things, because as your sister said to you, I'll wait till you lose the weight and then I'll learn how to cure things.
Right.
Yeah,
Which is a very stupid thing.
sure. It's one of her things.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
It's nothing to
stupid.
do with Franny, it has to do with her.
Yeah, she's stupid, but also there are, see, there are other particle attributes. Franny, look at the camera and stay with me and stop knitting or whatever you're doing.
I'm writing a note,
She takes notes on your meetings, on the meetings here.
especially when they pertain to me.
Yeah. I have my notes right here.
Now we have everybody is Bill Pelly in these meetings.
Yeah, that's right, Bill Pell was just thinking that.
I'm not as bad as Bill Kelly.
Now,
He used to actually ask people to repeat things so he could write it down.
for example, let's just say your caring attribute was higher. Okay?
Right.
And let's say your integrity attribute was higher. Well, when your sister said that, you would nail her to the wall and she would cure something.
And she would what?
She would cure something.
Cure something.
Well, you wouldn't let her get away with saying that.
I think you used
Well,
to,
the last time I was with her, I didn't let her get away with saying stuff like that, and we had this huge argument.
I think you used to not let people get away with things in the past, but it may have been hard on you because it was, you felt there was your other side, so.
Well, I tried to avoid those things.
Yes, but you were good at it, and it was an important part to have, important to do, and a part of your MO, modus operandi.
Your particle attributes are what enable you to structure your life. Well, let's take another example. What about caring? Like, suppose well, let me ask Barb. Barb, I want to ask you a question. You know the level of caring called coercive caring?
Coercive caring, yes.
Like you're in the trying mode, you're hopeful, you're trying to help the person. And when, if you're in that, would that interfere, if you care at that level about, let's say, everything, like you're trying, you know, that's how you care, you try. Do you think that that would interfere with you designing your life? And how would it interfere?
Barb is on a,
Oh, there you are.
there she is, back.
I lost you for a second there.
Yeah.
Ah.
Every time something else happens on my phone, I lose you.
You sound nice and loud now.
Yeah, exactly.
You said, you said something about like, as soon as you're carrying on that level, and that's why I lost you.
Okay, when if you're caring at the level of being like sort of trying and being coercive and you know, like you get like Franny was like when you got into the argument with your sister, Franny, you were at the coercive caring level. You were, you know, just like struggling with her.
Right.
Does that interfere and how with you structuring your life? Barb, I was asking.
Can you just, can you repeat the question again? You got cut off. Does that affect how I'm structuring my life? Yes.
How does it?
If I'm in the coercive part of caring, you mean?
Yeah. How does that interfere with structuring your life? What does it do?
I don't know if I've been in that lately, but I think people would do things like take jobs they don't like or
stay in relationships they don't like, or, push too hard.
Take jobs they don't like is a good one.
Just like getting come-throughs.
Do you know how many people say, 40 years I worked there and I hated every minute of it?
My husband.
I did it all for you.
That's right. Because I care about you. So this is how lives get screwed up, and they're not designed, or not designed properly. So all these things that we've been studying feed into life design. Another one is, let's say, God connectors. Like, here's knowledge, renunciation, and healing is one of the God connectors. Those things are all one thing. Knowledge, renunciation, and healing. Now, how would that, like if that God connector is not present or is weak, how would that interfere with you designing your life structure? Franny?
Well, I don't know.
Anybody got any idea?
I do, because you would design your life around the thing you're not renouncing.
Thank you. You would design your life around the thing you're not renouncing, because your level of knowledge is low. You don't know that it needs to be renounced, and therefore you can't heal. So, the higher your level of consciousness, the higher your level of life structure design. So, Ross, what do you have to say?
I agree, absolutely. The more conscious you are, the better it is. Conscious of everything, every little thing, and every big thing. Conscious of yourself, of your environment, of other people, of nature, of everything.
Okay. What are some symptoms that your life is not structured well?
Well, you see it from the results you get.
Okay, you can see by your results. Okay, what else?
If you don't have energy, if you're not involved in your mission, if you're not if you don't easily interact with other people, you don't interact well with other people, just life, I suppose. Oh, I think we got a little failure here.
That sounds like a call.
Oh, that's Barb. Okay. Call drop for Barb. We're still here.
One of the main problems that causes poor life structure design is your past betrayals. Times in the past when you've betrayed. Ross, were you working on that the other day with Barb?
On betrayals.
On betrayals interfering with life structure design.
I don't remember. It was a few days ago. Bob, do you remember?
I think we went through a list of things, but I don't remember focusing too much on betrayals now.
Because like, oh, okay, these things, it gives this list of symptoms in the lesson on life structure design. It gives a long list of symptoms such as being right, being secretive, denourishers, doing irrelevant tasks, illusions. Franny does a lot of irrelevant tasks. Judgments. Michael does a lot of judging. Loops, low exit speed. Barb, you get into loops with people. Non-empowerment, not choosing. Non-empowerment. I may fail in the empowerment level sometimes. Or not having money, not planning, rambling on when you're talking, scarcity, survival, trying to, keeping, always being struggling to survive. And these are things that we do to compensate for past betrayals.
Oh.
It said, underneath them it says, with a colleague or buddy, access as much as you can about the specific betrayals behind your symptoms. Take as many sessions as you need with this list to completely understand how these symptoms are affecting you and visualize the desirable realities that you want to go to that these have been blocking. So what you're doing is you're basically curing past life trauma, like you're going into your past lives with the intention of finding places where you did a betrayal, and the betrayal might have caused a symptom such as unclarity or trying to get a result, or taking care of people, or survival or suppression. You with me?
Yeah.
That's what you do. Usually these things have their roots in past lives, and then in this life, your poor life structure design is created by your environment, like your parents, your family, your friends, the people you know, the culture that you live in. And you can't go against the bad stuff in that, all of that, because you're trying to compensate for these past betrayals. Like, Franny, ever since I've known you, you have had trouble saying no to your father. You know? And that's probably not from this lifetime, although part of it is probably from your conception trauma. So, Ross, how do you relate this to yourself?
This is difficult. Probably I have betrayed in the past my sister, especially my sister. So now I have to compensate coming through for her.
Sure, but it can be a betrayal of somebody that you don't know in this lifetime. That would cause you to compensate by coming through for your sister. Do you understand?
Oh, yes.
Any betrayal. Okay. I mean, you just hang it on the next person. It's called projection.
So, like sort of to make it up.
Yeah.
For the betrayal. Okay, I understand. And also the way I behave with my cats.
Really?
I treat them like children. Probably, okay, let me test. Is it because of a past betrayal? And I get yes. And it's also caretaking.
You're caretaking your cats.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I'm caretaking everyone. Or anyway, I used to.
And caretaking is a symptom, a betrayal symptom that interferes with life structure design.
Yeah, sure.
And Franny, you've been very, very guilty of caretaking.
Better take care.
Franny will go to jail.
Franny has all her cats. They are Bayard, her father, her brother.
I noticed you didn't name yourself. You forgot you, Greg.
Well, I did. You were laughing at that point.
Yeah, well, they're all male. That's the problem.
Then he's got his sisters. She's got her sisters.
Well, Franny, test, do I caretake my sisters?
No.
Just the males. And it's all because she wasn't a boy. Her father wanted a boy, and her grandfather wanted a boy. So they named her Francis.
Be Jane. But that didn't.
Yeah, Jane didn't work out, so they gave her the middle name. And they turned her into a strong,
My two sisters are very independent, and they hardly ever ask me for anything. So it's mostly the men who ask for things like, can you come and take care of my kids? Franny, my computer's acting strange.
Can you sew on my button?
Can you sew on my button? Immediately.
Franny, I want you to test.
I can't find the icon for my text edit. I said, well, the good news is that that's probably a very easy fix. He goes, it is? Yeah, I said it is. And
it's right in front of you.
It took us about 5 minutes,
Can you, okay, test did I go on that trip with my sister to caretake her?
No.
Was going on the trip with my sister an example of good life structure design?
No.
How about bad life structure design?
No.
So no life structure design at all?
No.
She takes a holiday from life.
What?
She takes a holiday, takes vacations from life.
I don't know.
To do things like.
I don't know what I expected from that trip, but I guess one thing was that my sister acted like she was bored or something like that, and I think I was not going to be. I didn't feel like getting sucked into, just doing stuff because
Just to fill the. She is bored. Just fills. She fills her life with stuff to keep her busy.
Yeah, she doesn't want to think about.
But basically, she wants to. And her thing is she'll eat candy and then talk about other people being overweight, and she eats candies and cookies all day and kind of ruins her health. So.
Well, then I told her a few things about how she was not that thin, and she said, "Oh, I know. I've been 10 pounds over, but basically she's also been 10 pounds over for the last 20 years too, or 20 pounds over or whatever."
These symptoms we read are symptoms of life structure design. They can put the light back on. Speaking of that.
Ross, would you test for Franny? I want you to test. Ross, test for Franny.
Okay.
The trip she took with her sister, was it good, bad, or indifferent life structure design for Franny?
Okay. I think it is bad.
Okay. So, sometimes, here's a good one. How hard or easy is it going to be to get to effectively structure your life if you're testing in a switched manner.
Oh boy.
Because I notice, Franny, often that you test in a switched way.
Uh-huh. Well, sometimes it's
How do you tell, Bayard?
because it's opposite to what he tests, which I always think is switched.
Well, it can be very difficult to tell, and that's one reason why it could be difficult to design a structured life. If you're doing it, like if you test in a switched way sometimes, it makes many of your other tests which are not switched questionable.
Of course.
See, one of the easiest things to do is like kill a virus, and the reason is that you can scan one of your bodies and you can see if the virus is there or not and kill it if it's there. You can even kill viruses in your physical body. Like I watched a woman stop a rosacea outbreak. It took like about 3 minutes, and she just,
Wow.
her face changed from red to normal. It was amazing.
Oh, yes, it is.
It's very easy to, because it's virtually impossible to be switched when you're like doing something that obvious.
Yes. True.
But if you're testing about something like, is this candy bar good for me, and you like candy bars,
Yeah.
it can be pretty difficult to know whether you're switched or not when you test.
Well, I do know that the trip with my sister was compensating for the mistake that she made getting the thing in the beginning, you know, like, and not only paying for the trip originally, which was kind of fun, but also like then compounding it by doing it again, and then wanting to use her money's worth, you know. It was just always a choice on her part, and I just, you know, probably was trying to help her out somehow. I don't know.
I think so.
It's always a bad mistake. I did enjoy a lot of it though, but that's one reason why we argued, is because she wanted me to do something different than what I did, you know, which is relax and go swimming and, you know. I mean, I love reading a book, you know, or sitting in the sun, which she doesn't do very much of. We did some of it, but.
Hey, Greg, you're doing something that's like scraping against the microphone, I think.
No, I'm not.
That's
It's Barb.
It's Barb? Oh, yeah. Oh, Barb, that's you. Okay, go on mute. I'll tell you a little something about my life structure design. People are always telling me like that, you know, like they went out to the movies, or like last night you and Franny went out to a play, I guess. And
yeah. Sunday.
a Sunday night you went out to a play.
Saturday was, yeah.
And so forth. And I never do any of those things. And the reason is that my life is highly structured. What I've done, I don't really have like an exact schedule, but I basically spend all my time doing things I really enjoy that don't take a lot of, that either have to be done, such as working or eating or exercising. Most of the things that I do are things that have to be done, like working, exercising, and eating. And I just do them in a very enjoyable way, So I elongate. Sometimes it takes me more time to do them because I elongate how long it takes me. And also I spend a fair amount of time studying. Like I read a lot of books. I use audiobooks. And I from that studying comes ideas which I then put down in my, put them in my outlines and notes and so on. And I try to keep moving forward every day. I try to go forward every day. In fact, I try to keep going forward more like every minute. I'm always asking myself if the thing I'm doing is the most effective, the shortest distance between 2 points, the easiest, and at the same time, if I'm enjoying myself. If I'm not enjoying myself, I use that as an alarm bell that I'm doing something wrong. I'm either going too fast or too slow, or in other words, what I'm actually doing is managing my particle attributes, that my exit speed is too low or too high, or my adhesion index is not high enough, so I'm not adhering to the person or thing that I'm involved with, and so on. And I also spend a fair amount of time every day talking to people, and I've set up my life so it's easy for me to talk to people. Like I can talk to people on the phone, on Skype, or I can even talk to my neighbors, who are right there. If I walk outside and somebody's out there, I can talk to that person, and so I don't have to go far. Or when I'm at the park, when I'm in the wildlife area, I pass people here and there, and I always say something to them. And sometimes I spend time talking with them because
nice.
It's easier. It's just easy to speak with people who cross my path. And I also put myself out to help people. I write notes and have them put on YouTube movies so that people will call me and I can help them cure things. And even if I don't reach them and I just reach their voicemail and I say hello to them, that feels really good to me.
So what gets in your way, Bob?
Of
having a good life structure plan.
I do have a good life structure, I think. Feels good to me.
Well,
I'm sure it could be better.
does life structure, if we call it a good life structure plan, does that take into is one criteria that how successful you are at what you're intending, or what your happiness, that you are being what you intend to be or want to be, or obviously it kind of allows you to really live a good life if you've got sort of things, your structure worked out, that it supports you in this life that you have. A person could be, what about a person living alone, not you, Ross, but an old man living alone with his cat and, eating ramen noodles and playing chess with himself all day long, but he feels, I'm happy, I'm doing what I want to do.
Well, see, that's a good question. The real question is about life structure design. The life structure design doesn't necessarily accomplish anything in and of itself.
Yeah.
It only enables you to accomplish things.
That's right.
So, if I'm telling you, well, gee, I can't accomplish something or other because of my life structure design. Now see, here's another thing. Like recently, I had the opportunity to go to Albuquerque and work in a coffee shop and show people how to cure things there. And because we might have bought the place and then I could have just gone and done that. And the question is, would I have had to compromise my life structure design? Of course I would have, because I would have been in a completely different environment, and I would have, first of all, I would have arrived there not set up. An interesting aside is that when I used to go, like when I went to Santa Fe, there were some people. We had a whole group in Santa Fe, and some friends of ours donated their studio, which was this gigantic room for me to live in with my girlfriend, and I had my own bathroom and a beautiful kitchen and a deck and 4 dogs to go running with. And when I arrived there were like 3 or 4 people who unpacked my clothes and set everything up for me. And I had already shopped, and I brought the food into the kitchen and put it there, and everything was ready so I could make food for myself and do everything I needed to do. And so my life structure design didn't change at all. I mean, every city that I went into, I was set up. Like when I came out to live with you, Greg.
Yeah.
You had my room ready. My bed was made, and I had
you had a car available and food.
Yeah. Shelf system to put my clothes on and so forth.
You found a place to run. That was nice.
Right across the street. That's right. And so I just didn't skip a beat. Got there, took a nap, went running, just like I was in the other place that I just left. That was my very first day there. And when I thought about doing this thing in Albuquerque, there wasn't anything like that there. It was like I would have had to, go there with a trailer, and maybe I would have had a friend to help me unpack or something, but maybe not, because then who'd be minding the store, So that would have been, in other words, had I done that, that would have meant there was something wrong with me. Like it would have been a symptom to go do that. Like when this is what Sun Tzu says, okay? In Sun Tzu, he says, if you put your army on a forced march of 1,000 miles to chase or 100 miles, let's say, make it more realistic. I don't know how long a li is, but it says 1,000 li. But anyway, to chase an advantage, you will lose half your force. The commander of the leading group will be captured. Okay? That's the Sun Tzu quote that covers that. It's a symptom. Doing that is a symptom. You with me, everybody?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Like when you are in a position of strength, you figure out how to accomplish what you want to accomplish while continuing in your position of strength.
Yes. That's the thing about strength. It gives you a life structure to pursue those things more easily. Like people with money are making money because they have some money there. And allows them to do more, and rather than using all their money, they're using made money.
Well, I'll tell you something on the reverse. If you look at it that way, because I see, all right, 2 things. I see that your life structure design has limited you from doing anything too adventurous, And in many ways, my life structure design has supported me in doing a lot for other people. Not that it's a great thing to have done, but I do accomplish a lot.
For other people, yeah.
For myself
You
and
have
for
things-
other people. But it has had consequences. It's not such a great life structure design, but I've had a life structure design that has supported me to the extent that I've been doing this like my entire life almost, you know. And I haven't like completely collapsed.
You know, it is possible, by the way. Like, I would tend to agree with you that, by my definition of adventure, I don't do very many adventurous things. Like, my idea of doing something adventurous is like going out, you know, in a flats boat and, you know, and going spearfishing, let's say, or something, feels adventurous to me. Could we agree on that as a...
Yeah, your sphere is
Which is
smaller. You're on the stage for some people, like online, but you're not Nelson Mandela on the world stage where everybody knows about you. You don't have that apparency.
Not that Mandela took so many risks, but he did live his life regardless of what. And you're sort of doing that too.
Your courage is personal courage, and definitely courage and mastery and all that on the level with, you know, these world celebrities.
You know what? I have to use Nelson Mandela as an example here. Funny that he just died, and, you know, he's all over the news, of course, so he
Yes.
comes to our mind.
But
he is a good example of this. Because, see, actually, Nelson Mandela is an example of someone who, from a very, very, very rigidly structured and narrow life design, accomplished gigantic things. Mandela became known to the world while he was in prison. He didn't go anywhere. And he became known to the world from there because of his actions, which he took from a small area. He used to defend the other prisoners. He was a lawyer. He used to defend the other prisoners and so on. He went on to, like, they moved him into a... See, I read his biography, his autobiography. They moved him into a prison that was closed. There was nobody there. It was like an abandoned prison. And they put him in the warden's house, which was was a house. It was a separate building. It had grounds and so on. And it was like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath Florida house is what it looked like.
Yeah.
And so they moved him into the warden's house, and the only other person in the prison was his guard, who was also his butler, personal secretary, shopper, and they gave him a car so he could leave the prison. And they used to go for drive, like the guard said to him, "Well, we have." Oh, Barb, would you go on mute?
Mute, please.
Thanks. The guard said to him, "Well, we can go for drives if you want. We have a car, so we'll go for a drive. You know, where would you like to go?" So Mandela, they used to go out driving together, and then one time the guard said, "Well, why don't we buy some wine? Let's go to a liquor store and we'll get some wine for the house, And Mandela said, "Well, I don't drink, so he didn't feel like going into the store." But the guard said, "No, you should really come in and look at these wines." And Mandela realized that the guard, they were planning to enter, the heads of state of the country were planning to come to have dinner with him. And they told the guard to teach him about wine so that he'd, be able to be their host and give them wine when they got there, because they all drank wine with dinner. So that's why he had to learn about wine. But
let me just interject here that this was after, 20 to 25 years of being in prison on Robben Island,
That's
where he was in a small cell and broke rocks all day long.
Well, actually, Robben Island, in the last, there was a long period where they were pretty much left to their own devices on Robben Island. Like they went out to break rocks every day, but they didn't really break rocks. They sat around and they did their planning of their, of their political strategies, and they used to gather. They gathered stuff in the surf, like clams and stuff, and they made lunch. And there was a point, like the lunch smelled so good, the guard was like eating his sandwich and looking over at them, and they called him over, and they started eating with the guards, like they'd make lunch for themselves and the guards. And so it became looser as time went on.
Right.
But I guess it was probably the last 5 years or so, or 6 years that there was.
That was Ross.
There was also an interim place where they gave him the top floor of a prison that had prisoners in it, and he had a roof garden, and so he could make his own food up there, But anyway, the point is that Nelson Mandela had a very narrowly structured life design, and at the same time, while he was in that life design, he figured out how to reach out and affect the people who had to be affected. So he's a very good example of creating a position of strength. And see, often, yin and yang are like, yin is like scattered, okay? Yin is out there, it's the centripetal force, like whirling around, and yang is the hard center, the contractive. Like yang is strong and yin is weak, and so in order to reach out, you have to be yin. You have to do yin actions, and the idea is to select the correct actions to do, while not. Oh, Ross. You're touching your mic and it's making a really
Yes.
Also, it's too close to your mouth and it sounds really loud.
Loud, yeah.
Yeah. It's to stay in a strong position. Like, as a matter of fact, Franny was saying, like, what you were saying about how you've accomplished a lot. You do accomplish a lot all the time. And there is something very strong about, there's a lot of strength to your life design. Like you make sure that you have enough clothes, and you keep, you have, you make sure that you have what you need, and you have a place to work, and you sit there and you work all day. And a lot of your work involves helping other people, and you do that. And you do accomplish a huge amount. So.
And actually, even though Greg's life structure design isn't like all that great, he does a lot for other people too, and he works a lot. He sits here, so he checks everything, and
in some way, mine has been like yours in that, from an early age, I was a supporter, and I was very much the one in my family who was the peacemaker and trying to make things happen in some degree. And that's when I met you, Byard, and I started assisting in 1982. And I have been ever since. It was, of course, I got value out of it, but it was to support you and Franny and our endeavor here. And I've always been in that role as Franny, as a caretaker.
But he's managed to maintain his responsibilities on all fronts as far as keeping the ball rolling, and it didn't come to a halt at any particular moment, and that, to that extent, his life structure design supported that, but it didn't necessarily support himself in doing what he wanted to do, and maybe mine didn't actually support me in doing what I wanted to do creatively, but my father told me I was genius last night again, because I've attained a level where I can help him over the phone in a few minutes, which to him is like unbelievable. And then, but I said, well, Greg told me that I'm known for doing a good job.
And it really stuck with her when I said that. Which is,
and it's true. Like I've done a good job when I do things. I don't let things slide too much.
She's not half-assed about it.
No.
Well, one thing, just to go back to my life structure design, is that one thing that I've done is see, Franny, I know that you care about me, and Greg, that you care about me.
That's right.
And I have made sure that I stuck with you.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah, you've helped us.
That was how.
Oh, yeah. Because many, smaller people would have just said, yeah, that's it, I'm out of here.
Well, we also never would have stayed together, probably, and we never would have had the level of relationship that we do have, because we have all the tools that you designed over the years to work on it, or to solve our problems,
So there's been a core, and with Barb too, I bet you would include yourself in this. We've all...
And Ross got through her husband dying in a really great fashion, like some people would, like a lot of women dissolve and are grieving for a long time, and women in my position just say, oh, the heck with it, and they get out of it, and they go on to the next time, and they do it all over again, You have provided structure for all of us within which we can help ourselves.
Help us interact.
In spite of ourselves.
And it's not, it's allowing our own life design. It's not like imposed. It's the fluidity.
So
and the interaction.
Basically, the life structure design that you've come up with has helped people, including us, just be able to deal with the things that are coming at them a lot more efficiently than some people might. Like, in other words, we don't fall into an unconscious category anymore. We are able to clear ourselves, which is really important.
Well,
It's wonderful.
Well, I just for me, like by staying connected to people who care about me, I have stayed strong.
That's right.
And that was not always easy,
No.
But it was. I just made sure. And I can be in another city, but I am still nurtured by my relationship with you, because I know that you care about me, and that your caring doesn't diminish if we're not in the same city.
Right.
Or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is a community that supports people in a very, very important. You could say it is doing Bob's work, because it's kind of like we're striving to be more conscious about everything, and you've pretty much stuck to your guns on that, and we've stuck to it as best we can, given what we've been doing, and it's always continually surprising that we're not more successful with it, but maybe we are very successful with it. It just isn't most people's cup of tea, because they don't have very good life structure designs.
Well, or maybe it's that we have failed to see the obvious over and over again.
Well, that's always possible.
Because as I've been, thinking about the Cure Cafe thing, that's something that has, continued to plague me, that, there have been so many obvious things that I simply didn't see. And I went on and on without seeing them.
Right.
So, just so you know.
Well, just so you know, we have a black president for the first time. We also had, I guess, they call this a big deal, but a woman became the CEO of one of the car companies in Detroit. That has never happened before.
That's amazing.
So people are becoming different, you know, they're not in their old structures so much.
But you know, she's reincarnated. She used to be a man.
Well, everybody.
Just kidding. I was just kidding. I couldn't resist saying that. Okay, guys, this is very good. You know what you were saying before I get off, I want to go back to something. You were saying that people who have money, the reason they have money is because they structure their lives and the way they use money, like they learn
the capital and try to.
They learn how to use money so that they make money, and they live on the made money.
If possible, yeah.
If possible. And so, you know, that's a very important thought. Hold that thought, you know.
It's your core that you have, that you, like, if you have very little money, you don't go out and splurge on something that's really a non-essential.
You have that structure because you have maintained your father's, you know, money or whatever, so that it makes money.
That's what I'm doing.
It's
so that's
not
why
saving,
I can't.
it's a makes money. That you can
It's you know, that's a more yes. Okay. Well, enough said about that.
That is life structure design, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
And other things can interfere with that. So, well, this is very good, and I think that we've covered the topic.
Let's link our higher bodies.
Okay.
Everyone who's listening.
Maybe everybody ought to test, has my life structure design improved during this meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Barb, what do you get?
Yes. Internally and externally, yes.
All right, well,
Good.
very good then.
Did Libby,
And thank you to everybody.
did the new cat ask to you add to your life structure?
Yeah, you know, cats are very good feng shui.
Yeah.
They bring life into the space.
Into the
The new cat
corner.
is beautiful.
Tomorrow's her big day.
Yeah, tomorrow's her big, right. She's going to the vet and she's going to get tutored.
Just tell her she's going to get her headshots done, like at a photographer.
That's right.
Don't tell her it's going to be butt shots.
Actually, I had her headshot done the other day. All right, sweeties, I'm linking my etheric body with all of you.
Thank you very much. We are doing the same.
Okay.
This is the Cure Drive Cult homepage. You can see we tally our cures. That's the tally there, 132,000. You report your cures here, right here. That's the link to report your cure. Okay, this is the movie that people start with generally. And there's a lot of people actually curing things on camera in this movie and demonstrating exactly how to do it. It's 4.5 hours. So you would be able to probably understand and know what these people are doing by watching this. We are a cult because we're all over the world. Maybe one person in a town, just one little guy who cures things in a whole town full of people who don't. Whose spouse thinks she's crazy because she's curing things and he doesn't. She doesn't get sick and he's down with the flu for 5 days and he still thinks she's crazy. We've had spouses die So this person is demonstrating curing herpes in this movie, the one you're watching right there. And it goes on like that. Now, these are the people here. You see this black area here? This is our Twitter feed. These are the people you want to talk to. And what you do, see, it says follow Cure Drive. And that's what you do. You click on that, and then you pick somebody. Anybody in here will be happy to help you. So you write to people that you see in here. And there's all these people all talking about what they're curing. So that's what you do. You pick somebody that that seems like a kindred spirit, presumably, and you write to them. See that picture of the cat there? That's Rosella. She's one of the people whose spouse died. He was a very great guy. He just thought it was nuts. Never did it. Died of cancer. Not too long ago, about 2 months ago. So anyway, you just, you write to somebody and, tell them what you are trying to do. People are always asking about negative medical tests. Here, let me show you. This is a voicemail message. You should probably, if you're interested in getting a negative medical test on, let's say, herpes. She got negative medical tests and both kinds of herpes. And she left me this message when she got her letter from the, hospital, I guess. She was in New Zealand. So her tests are free. Now, of course, there's an enormous website behind this homepage. I guess you're probably guessing, right? And if you see these movies, these are all people demonstrating curing various diseases. These people chose to contribute their cures to your effort to cure yourself. There are around, I guess, over 800 movies, and some of them are linked to this page. So if you click on any one of these pictures, it will go to a movie, and that movie will start playing. So join the cult. Your friends will be worried about you. You're in a cult, they'll be worried. You have the crazy idea that you can cure medically incurable diseases. They're going to be very concerned, especially if you're battling cancer. Your friends will be worried, and that's a good thing. You will cure things, and that is also a very good thing. You will begin curing things the moment you join, because that's how you join. You cure something. When you cure something, you're in the cult. If you want to get out of the cult, just stop curing things, and you won't be in the cult anymore. Easy to exit. Your easy exit strategy. And who knows? You may even cure the medically incurable disease that you came in here to cure. A lot of us did. That's me there in the movie holding forth on how to cure things. I'm on the cure team. That's what I did. I cured a medically incurable disease. Two of them, actually. So I cured 2 kinds of herpes. It was about 4 months after I started doing this that I actually discovered, I'm the person who discovered that you could cure physical diseases. July 1993, my 20th anniversary just passed. I haven't had an outbreak of herpes for 20 years, and before that, I was having outbreaks for 28 years. I got herpes in 1965, at the end of the year. 28 years of outbreaks followed by 20 years of no outbreaks. That's how bad it can be and how good it can be, if you let it be good. So, take the courageous step that almost everyone you know will advise you not to take. Join the cult. When you're in the cult, your friends will get sick and you will get well. Your friends will give sympathy and you will give cure. And you'll know that you don't even need to take a vitamin pill to cure something. You can just cure it with nothing. Just with you. What can you contribute? What will your contribution be? This woman is curing a flu right on camera. She came in with full symptoms and they were all gone in 15 minutes. You can see it happen. Flu is an incurable viral-based disease. It's medically incurable. She cures it right in front of you. We eagerly await your contribution. And here they are, eagerly awaiting your contribution. And anything that you say to any of these people will probably be a contribution of some kind.